Welcome back to the Unleashing/Perilous Times Great American Team Up. Got my buddy here, Chris, with me. He just drove over. It's kind of late. We're drinking some coffee, but I want to get some more information out about some of the recent discoveries and things that are going on and talk to you about it. Okay, so get this. While you're on the way over, I'm listening to this video, right? And I think it's Anita Fuentes or whatever. She's got a recording on a scientist who's talking on the news or whatever. And he's talking about secret space program and stuff like that, but with the disasters coming up on the world right now, we're going to need to be lifted off the planet, right? To escape them, at least for a time being. Get this, these are his exact words. And then he goes, there are UFOs out there that can hold literally millions of people, and if they would come down and help us out with this, if that is not prepping for the rapture cover, which is exactly what it's going to be.
For a great deception.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're literally doing it, and they didn't use billions of people, so it looks like even the government's on board with the numbers being small.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, but literally they said that. Here's something interesting. Here come the UFOs again, just like that rapture vision I had. And it was a big one, too, and it was like hovering over the lake. But when we shot up, it had nothing to do with the UFO. That was like a little sideshow staging thing. But they'll take the credit for it, you know? And they might even do a couple on TV where somebody's getting lifted up and they show it. Oh, look, that's what happened to the people.
You have to prep your minds for it. They already try to say that we were planted here by aliens, and that's where the human race came from.
Exactly.
So they got to prep everybody for that great lie, great deception.
Yep. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yep. Interesting.
I know, I thought so too. I was like, man, that's crazy. Chris is going to have to hear this. But yeah, totally nuts. They're doing the prepping for it now. Now that we know that, lines up with the vision. More and more stuff lines up with the vision, which was just crazy as it is. Enter the observatory in New Mexico and other observatories around the world where they've hacked into some of their cameras and other things like that, but they're shutting them down because they're seeing something. Mm-hmm. Is this some gigantic UFOs? Because I've seen pictures and stuff out there by Saturn's ring. Some of these things are like 60 miles wide. They're huge. And you got to think fallen angel technology and all the other stuff, which is what's actually running that whole operation. I mean, they have the technology to build stuff just gigantic that just dwarfs anything that we have and people can't understand. And it's this awe that's going to be like, of course, with that kind of power and abilities, that must be where those people went. And it won't be. It's going to be a great deception.
It can't be God.
Exactly. Yeah, they're going to go with the aliens. And just like Jesus said, the deception is so strong it could deceive the very elect if it were possible. Now people are going to know, they're going to remember conversations like this. You know, it's like, wow. They were literally talking about before it happened at the same time.
Some people can fall for this flat earth theory.
Yeah.
The alien thing, the aliens taking us in place of a rapture, almost sounds more believable than that. So I can see a lot of people falling for that.
Yeah, the flat earth thing's going to be in a real surprise when asteroids start coming down. And they're ushering people in because the planet's coming in, you know what I'm saying? Which it could have been that too with the observatory cover-up. We don't know.
They'll try to say it's Project Bluebeam. They can only do that for so long till it can't be denied now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, with the planet thing, if this is the year, then we got about a year and a half or whatever before that shows up. So who knows what they sell out there. But it ain't no Chinese HARP satellite nonsense. You don't shut it down, close down a town and all that stuff over that. Every excuse, there's only two things that it could be. Either gigantic UFOs, they're harnessing energy from the sun because it's an electric ball of energy, and they're using their capacitors to basically charge up their ships before they do something.
Or Nibiru.
Or the whole planets. Exactly. Those are the only two real reasons for them to do that they have. There is nothing else. There's no reason to shut it down. Anything else is absolute nonsense. Satellites, things like satellites fly between telescopes, and we see them all the time. You go outside, you see, so it doesn't mean anything. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's only two possibilities. Either some planets out there they're trying to keep covered up, and we know that they will, or UFOs that are trying to keep covered up. And either way, it's coming this way. Something is coming. So those are really the only two things. And it's very interesting. At this very same time we discovered this, that we also are discovering this. This looks like the year that the whole thing's about to kick off. It's pretty wild.
Sure, a lot of things lining up.
Yeah, there really is.
And it seemed that way a lot, but every year there's more and more things lining up.
I know, it's crazy. And I think it's hit a climax where it's not going to do anymore. I keep hearing about like, oh, until every Gentile has been saved. I've stated before, we're losing Christians faster than we're gaining them. We're past that point.
So basically, there's like a point where we hit equilibrium,
and now we're actually losing.
And now we're
away.
actually losing it.
Yeah,
so.
there are so many people that are turning away, and I really think this is the falling away that Paul was talking about. It makes sense, in that aspect of that. So it's very interesting, and we could be about to see the man of sin be revealed. Mm-hmm. So but the starting of this thing, the numbers line up good. Right to Passover, right to Shabbat Shavuot, the day of return or whatever for the second coming. It's 2,550 days altogether. They're talking about the peace treaty this year. War's ready and prepped. We got stuff being covered up by the FBI now. Man, I'm telling you, everything looks like it's in play, but we can only take it one step at a time. So we have to see, will the peace deal go forward? Here's how we'll know. If it goes anywhere past 5 days, past the 2nd of October, I'm going to call it and say, no, not this year, for the tribulation starting. That peace deal has to start. That is the starting point of the tribulation. When the rapture happens, now that we know it's not on trumpets, takes it out the window. It's a mystery time. But God will protect us. He's going to take us out of here at his time and choosing. It's a very special time. Mm-hmm. So we're just to stay with him, So whether we see the first part or not, before the disaster strikes, he gets us out of here. He's going to keep us safe.
And we know that will be the case because like you said before, you've said people will be getting married, going about their daily lives. If the world was basically coming to an end, in a sense, they're not going to be doing that like that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We can't throw any prophecies out, and that's exactly it. So every verse, nothing can be thrown out. It all has to fit perfectly without looking at one thing. And so many times people do that, and it can be easy because you forget one. But like I say, that's what we go over every single one to make that point. Nope, that's still fulfilled. That's still fulfilled. If one of them isn't, that's enough to stop it and at least relook at things and stuff. But none of them have been. They're all right on. I got some. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we should look into this because, there's nothing wrong with that. We won't know the exact day and hour, but we might guess it.
Yeah,
we won't know we were right.
And even if the tribulation starts on the second, like I'm saying, which it seems it has to for the numbers to line up, that's not the rapture. Mm-hmm. The rapture is its own time, and nobody knows when that's going to be.
We can check, like you were saying, we can guess every day. It's going to be today. You might get one of the days, you might land it, but you don't know that you were right.
Yeah, exactly.
But we should explore it.
Yeah, no, we're called to anyways. We're always supposed to be looking up and stuff like that. So we're actually doing what we're supposed to, and it's encouraging, at the same time. I think a lot of it's been hidden, and it's very interesting. It's coming out right now. The understanding, the signs and stuff like that. I think it's because if we were to know before, and you really knew, you would just put it off. You'd live like sin and hell all the way right up to the finish line. And by knowing right now at the end, we've actually been able to...
Kind of keeps us in check a little bit.
Exactly, yeah, it does. And that's a good thing because we need it, because sin can happen so easy for us as humans and stuff, So it's very interesting. Scottie Clark put out a video the other day, and I watched it on my way home from work. And I had tons of people saying, oh, the Feast of Trumpets is going to be in October 10th and 11th or whatever because of what he found in the Stellarium program. Here's the thing with that, and somebody pointed it out right in the comments, and I didn't say anything, but I totally agree with them. If it's so important for it to be past that line on the Stellarium program, when Revelations 12 sign happened in September, and that was the time, it wasn't past that line. And I need to say something once for all. He might be a nice guy and everything, and I totally believe in the Revelation 12 sign that it was a sign that it happened, and I think that he found it and everything like that. I give him credit for. I think he's a Christian. He loves God and everything like that. But what he's been doing lately is what I like to call, in a fighting scenario, he took a hit. When you're in combat, a street fight, and you're not trained up, and you take a hit, there's a couple things that can happen. One, you either center back up, catch your oxygen, find out what's going on, replan, find out what would happen, and strategize to get around that so that you can win. Or you start swinging wildly into the air and you lose complete control, and that's an untrained person.
Basically, he's been cracked and he needs to...
He took a hit,
yeah,
big time. And the last few things that I've seen him talking about, that we're not the bride of Christ, Jerusalem is, the city. It's called the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's what we're there for. Now, Jerusalem coming down might be adorned like a woman for marriage, but we're the bride of Christ, you know? And the 144,000, it clearly says that they're marked when they're in the tribulation. They're not falling around. It's not from a time past. And he was talking about the seals, and he was trying to make it so complicated, like they were opened already and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, he saw a vision of them being open back then when it happened, so it was like a vision of the future. But no, it hasn't taken place yet. It takes place in the tribulation. He's been cracking and swinging wildly, and this same thing is the same thing. If Feast of Trumpets is next month in October 10th through 11th, here's the problem. Nobody's going to be blowing any trumpet, so the whole point of his reasoning that the trumpet will blow and then God comes down is now been contradicted. And then it goes right to what I'm saying the whole time, that from what it looks like, it was never a trumpet at all. It's Jesus shouting. It's his voice that calls us up. The one where the trumpet is blown, which falls along with what Clark's talking about and everything like that, is the second coming. They will blow the shofar. They will go through their procedure, and Jesus will come, and they will be like, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, and we're going to be riding back with him in Armageddon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that lines up perfectly, and then with atonement. But it doesn't look like it's marked. And I have to apologize for that too. People listen to what I say and things like that. And the truth is that I was on board with that for a while. For the past 3 or 4 years, the Feast of Trumpets was the mark of it. And there was also the 2,550 days, which is the length of the tribulation that happens on certain years between Feast of Trumpets and Feast of Atonement, which I thought was how it was lined up. So I have to apologize because that's wrong. I had that wrong. And when I was talking to my sister about a week or so ago, I was like, now that I know this, and that Feast of Trumpets, that would be the same. The peace deal is what starts the tribulation, not the rapture. So it would have to happen at the same time on the Feast of Trumpets. I'm like, that's unlikely. It's like, the truth is, it's the years when it doesn't line up on those days, like this year and next year, that would be the actual days that we should be looking at it for, not the times when it's lining up. And so that's my apology. But like you say, I think we got this thing on track now. It's lined up for the second coming. That's what it looks like. They blow the shofars then. The whole procedure goes through. There really is a blowing of shofars. And we come in at that Shabbat Shavuot. The one day is called the Day of Return. That has to do with it within their beliefs and stuff like that, which lines up on the 26th. If it starts on October 2nd or whatever, or 3rd, I can't remember exactly the day, but this year. And then that will line up perfectly with it. So, I think that we have it, absolutely. And so now we can look for it. So even if it didn't happen this year, I'm totally on board now that it's the second coming. Rapture is going to be hitting, but it is around the start of the rapture, or the tribulation. And the reason why is because of the Jewish wedding symbolism, marriage supper of the Lamb and everything like that. That's tradition for a week long.
And normally it's 7 days.
Exactly. And being the 7th
7 years.
week. Exactly. Daniel's 70th week. Exactly. It's a week long, so is the rapture.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, but I think we're on board with that. So yeah, very interesting. So anyways, that's my Scottie Clark take. I don't think that Feast of Trumpets is next. Could the rapture happen on those days randomly? Yeah, absolutely, because it's God's choosing. Could it happen? Yeah. Can God come anytime he wants? Yeah. Can God come sooner than I think that's going to happen? Yeah, and I sure hope so. Always, right?
Yeah.
We don't know the rapture. We're just looking at the things that point to around its timing, and we know that it's around the start of the tribulation, because of they're still giving in marriage and stuff like that. It's the precursor to it, and we have the lineup of the other stuff. 2 years in, fifth trumpet blows, those demon things coming out of the ground, the abyss.
Yeah, regardless of when it happens, we just want to be there.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
If we're all sitting there, great.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, definitely some interesting stuff taking place. Lines up with the fulfillment that we're talking about that looks like this year. They're freaking out about something going in front of the sun. It's national security level. I don't think Feast of Trumpets is next month. Like I say, we go along with the Jewish calendar the whole time. Whenever their day is, it gets marked on our days. That's why Feast of Trumpets is not on the same day every year. On our calendar and our traditions, yeah, things are on the same day, like July 4th, right? That's going to fall on different days for them. So when theirs is always on the same day, the first of a month and the seventh month that they celebrate, because of their fluctuations in days, it fluctuates on ours, but we always have it marked. We're not behind a month or anything like that.
The calendars were a little different back then, obviously, because October was the 8th month, now it's the 10th, and things like that. You know, but we got to figure it out now.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do, and like I say, they go along. So yeah, we're not behind, we're not anything like that. And on Jubilees, like last year, I gave it credit. It's like, yeah, on the 50th Jubilee, they actually do blow the trumpet, since I was thinking it was on the Feast of Trumpets, the rapture happened on Feast of Atonement. So I gave that credit last year. Somebody's trying to say, oh, it's the Jubilee. No, it's not. We're past that already, and we can't just say that every year we want, or we start getting this thing where it's like, oh, the rapture could happen in December because we're on the super secret rapture, and the shofar is actually about 4 months. It's like, no. You know, so this looks like it's it. We're looking at the time. The thing to be seeing right now is this piece still going to go through? And it looks like it is. So we'll wait and see. But stuff's coming out kind of fast. And we know that if this is it, then the alien ships are on standby. They need to be here right when the rapture happens if they're going to make that cover, that they're the ones that
That's
did it.
also a good point of why there's no replacement theology. We always got to be looking at what's going on with the Jews, and they're involved.
Yeah, totally. It's his
Totally.
timeline for sure. Absolutely. So interesting stuff. We want to get a fast video out here and just cover a few things and questions and stuff like that. But yeah, things are still on, looking good, and this looks like it's probably definitely the year. Well, we're hoping so, anyways. So
Just got to keep hoping
Yeah.
and keep investigating. There's no reason to ever stop doing that.
yeah, and keep looking up. All right, thank you for joining us on the Leashing / Perilous Times. We'll catch you guys next time. God bless.
God bless. Take care.